Hello all. These are some algebraic fractions exam questions. I'm going to work through them. These are the Corbettmaths questions. You know where to find them. Okay, so we are multiplying here and we need to simplify fully. So for multiplying, doesn't matter what order we do things. However, what we should do is factorise everything before we get started. So x squared minus x. There's a common term there of x, so I can factor that out of my bracket. There we go. And then our denominator of 9 has not changed. Then we multiply by 3 over, and then we can factorise this quadratic here. Now, we need two numbers that multiply to give 7 and add to give negative 8. So that would be negative 7 and negative 1. So we have x subtract 7, x subtract 1. Right, now we can do our fraction multiplication and see where it takes us. So, x times x minus 1 times 3, so that's going to be 3x, x minus 1. And then you have 9, x minus 7, x minus 1. Now, we can have a look at this and see if we have any common factors in both the numerator and the denominator. And what you would notice is that we have a factor of x minus 1 in both. So I can cancel this down, as it would dividing by x minus 1 would leave me with a factor of 1 in both cases. So that leaves me with 3x as my numerator and 9x minus 7 as my denominator. And there's my final answer. Okay, let's try another one. This one looks a lot more complicated, but it's no different in terms of the skills we're actually using. So, we're doing fraction division this time. So, let's rewrite this in the way that you would for fraction division. So we're going to keep our first fraction, 3w squared, add 5w minus 12. And then we're going to multiply by the reciprocal of our second fraction. So 2w squared, add w minus 15 over 1. Okay, now we need to do some factorising. And because we have these non-unit coefficients of w squared, my advice would be do this off to the side. So let's start with our first one, 3w squared. Add 5w, subtract 12. Well, AC, so A times C, that's 3 times 12, so that is negative 36. B is 5. So I need two numbers that multiply to give me negative 36 and add to give me 5. Now, that would be 9 and minus 4. So, let's split up our quadratic. We're going to have 3w squared plus 9w minus 4w minus 12. Now, I can split this down the middle and factorise each half. So that is 3w, w plus 3. And then on this side, I have minus 4 w plus 3 again, so I can factor out my w plus 3 as it is in both terms, and I end up with w plus 3, 3w subtract 4. So that is my first quadratic factorised. I know I'm a bit short on space here, but let's do the second one. So I'll try and make this a bit smaller. 2w squared plus w minus 15. So we need two numbers that multiply to give us negative 30 and add to give us 1. That would be 6 and negative 5. So we've got 2w squared, add 6w, subtract 5w, minus 15. So we're going to have 2w, w plus 3, minus 5w plus 3. So then that gives us a total of w plus 3, 2w minus 2w minus 5. Okay, right, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move this out the way a little bit, just because I know we're a bit short on space. So, our fraction division is actually 1 over w plus 3, 3w minus 4, times w plus 3, 2w minus 5, w plus 3, 2w minus 5 over 1. Now, again, because we're doing our fraction multiplication, if I multiply these, I've got a factor of w minus 3 on my denominator here and on my numerator here. So I can cancel them out, and I end up with 2w minus 5 as my numerator and 3w minus 4 as my denominator. So there's my final answer. Okay. Let's move this back up so it's out of my way. Right. Here, we're doing some addition this time. So we're going to need to look for common denominators. Now, I have 2 denominators here, and then my x doesn't have a denominator on it at the minute. So the denominator I'm going to look for is going to be 4 times x plus 2. Because that gives me a common multiple of all of those denominators. So let's do that. Okay, so for that first fraction, I've multiplied by 4 on that denominator. So I need to multiply by 4 on top as well. So that will be 12 over 4x plus 2. The second fraction, I've multiplied by x plus 2. So I've got 5 minus 3x times x plus 2. And then my nice denominator that I've already worked out. And then I have my final term there. I need to multiply by both 4 and x plus 2. So that's going to be 4x, x plus 2, over 4x plus 2. Okay. Now, because we're doing addition, the easiest thing to do here is going to be to expand these brackets, add it all up, and then factorise the result to see if we can cancel anything. So, what we have is 12, add 5 times x, 5x, 5 times 2, add 10, subtract 3x squared, subtract 6x, add 4x squared, add 8x, all over our common denominator. Okay, now let's tidy up our terms a bit. We have 4x squared take away 3x squared. That's 1x squared. Then, let's keep track of our x terms. We have 5x, take away 6x, that's negative 1x, add 8x, so that's 7x total. Then we have 12 add 10, that's 22, so we have a plus 22 there. And then that's over 4x plus 2. Right, now we need to see if we can factorise this. I need 2 numbers that multiply to give me 22 and add to give me 7. 22 only has 2 factors, that is 11 and 2, neither of which add up to 7, so that does not factorise. So we can leave that as is. Okay. Next one, number 30. X squared plus 4x times x squared plus 2x minus 24 over x squared minus 16. 3 things here that I can factorise. First one is my bracket at the front. That's going to be x plus 4. And because I'm multiplying it by a fraction, I'm just going to have a denominator of 1. Then I have my quadratic on the top. I need two numbers that multiply to give negative 24 and add to give positive 2. Well, that would be 6 and minus 4. So that's going to be x plus 6, x subtract 4. Then on the bottom, this is a difference of two squares. That's going to be x plus 4, x minus 4. Because we've got x times x for x squared, minus 4x add 4x will give me 0, and positive 4 times negative 4 is negative 16. Okay, immediately I can do some cancelling. I've got a factor of x minus 4 on the numerator of my second fraction and on the denominator. So I can cancel both of those. Then I'm multiplying an x plus 4 factor on my numerator by an x plus 4 factor on my denominator. So I can cancel those. So that leaves me with x plus 6 over 1, or x plus 6. And if you wanted to, you could write it as x squared plus 6x. Doesn't really matter. Okay, right. This time, we've actually been given a form that we want our final answer in, yeah? We want a x squared plus b over x squared minus 1. A and b are whole numbers. They are integers. Now, we're doing addition and subtraction, so just like before, we're going to have that common denominator. To get the common denominator of x minus 1, x plus 1, on that first term, the 4, I'm going to need to multiply by both of those brackets. So it's 4x minus 1, x plus 1, over x minus 1, x plus 1. Now, for the second fraction, this one, I need to multiply by x plus 1 only. So I'm going to have 2x minus 1 times x plus 1. Now, just to save time and space, I'm going to write all of this over one denominator, just because that's what we're going to do eventually anyway. And then, for the last fraction, I need to multiply by x minus 1 only. So I'm subtracting x plus 2, x minus 1. That's all over my denominator there. Right, let's expand and get all of our terms simplified. So we have 4, actually, let's do this and then multiply. Let's do the double bracket, then multiply by 4. So x squared, so we have 4 lots of x squared minus x plus x, so that all cancels to 0, subtract 1. So, if I can just remove those brackets, that will give me 4x squared, just move that a bit closer, 4x squared minus 4. Then I have plus 2x squared plus 2x minus x, so that's plus x, minus 1 again. And then finally, my second bracket here, I have positive x squared and it's subtracted, so that's negative x squared minus x plus 2x, that's plus 1x, which with the negative becomes minus x. And then finally, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. With the negative becomes positive 2. X minus 1, x plus 1. Right, a bit more tidying up to do. We have 4x squared plus 2x squared for 6x squared. Subtract x squared. That's 5x squared. Then we have, for our x terms, plus x minus x. so that all cancels down to 0. And finally, we have minus 4, minus 1, that's minus 5. Add 2 is negative 3. Over x minus 1, x plus 1. Now, we're almost there. If I expand this bracket, I get 5x squared minus 3 over x squared plus x minus x, so that cancels down to 0, and I end up with negative 1 only. If we check that, that is in fact in the form that we want, where a is 5 and b is negative 3. This is the last question on the sheet. This time we are multiplying an algebraic fraction by a bracket where we're adding two different algebraic fractions. So let's work this out. First of all, I'm going to do some factorising of that initial fraction. So, 8x squared minus 2. Well, I can take a factor of 4 out of there, and that leaves me with 4x squared minus, a factor of 2 out. A factor of 2 out, and that leaves me with 4x squared minus 1. Now this is actually a difference of 2 squares. I can write that as 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1. Because 2x times 2x is 4x squared, minus 2x add 2x will give me 0, and 1 times negative 1 will give me negative 1. Then we have the denominator. Now, I'm going to do this separate over here, just so that we can keep track. So we have 6x squared minus 29x, add 9. So AC is 6 times 9, which is 54, and B is negative 29. So I need two numbers that multiply to give me 54 and add to give me negative 29. Well, 27 times 2 is 54, and if I make both of those negative, they add up to negative 29. So I have 6x squared minus 2x minus 27x add 9. Now I can take out a factor of 2x from that first half, and that leaves me with 3x minus 1. And in the second half, I can take out a factor of minus 9, and that will leave me with 3x minus 1. So I can factor out the 3x minus 1, 3x minus 1, and 2x minus 9. Okay, so I have my factorised brackets. Let's put those into my fraction. So 3x minus 1, 2x minus 9. Right, let's move over a bit so I've got space. So I'm then multiplying by whatever I get from this bracket here. Now, if I'm adding, I need a common denominator. So I'm going to want 2x plus 1 and x minus 2 as my denominator. So that means I'm going to keep my bracket, x minus 2 over 2x plus 1, add 2x plus 1 over x minus 2 and 2x plus 1. Again, just running out of space, so move this out of the way. There we go, let's move that downwards. X minus 2, 2x plus 1, there we go. Oh, and I forgot my second bracket in that earlier denominator. Let's make room for that. minus 2. There we go. So I have x minus 2 add 2x plus 1. So our initial fraction that we've worked out is going to be the same. So let's duplicate that. We are then multiplying by x minus 2 plus 2x plus 1. So that's 3x minus 2 add 1 is minus 1. So that is 3x minus 1 over 2x plus 1 x minus 2. Okay. Now, I can straight away start doing some cancelling, yeah? First of all, I have a 2x plus 1 on my numerator here, and I'm multiplying by a 2x plus 1 on my denominator, so they can cancel. Then I have 3x minus 1 on the top here, and again on my denominator there, so I can cancel those. So, in all then, I'm going to end up with 2 times 2x minus 1 over 2x minus 9 x minus 2. Now, there is nothing else there that we can factorise out, yeah? Everything that we need to factorise doesn't share common factors. 2 and 9 don't share common factors. X minus 2 cannot be factorised anymore. 2x minus 1, no common factors there. So, this is our final answer. And if you actually go and look, you get 2 times 2x minus 1, 2x minus 9, x minus 2. And then at the end there, look, now factorise that into, expanded all of those brackets. You don't have to do that. It's entirely up to you. Unless it asks for a specific form, you don't need to expand any brackets. Okay, that was algebraic fractions. I hope that was helpful. I will be making some more videos for you guys going forward to make sure you're all prepped for those exams.